So they still have these things, supposedly.
I would guess. I mean, I don't have any information on that
Have
at
you
all.
ever asked anyone that has any inkling of any idea of where they got them or how they got them?
No, but something must have been said to me from Barry, but it was just too long ago, and I can't quite remember what was said. But it just left a seed in my mind. I think at least one of them was part of an archaeological dig. So it's old. At least one of them is old. I don't know if it was the one I worked on, but I remember something to do with an archaeological dig.
Whoa.
So that means it's not just old, it's ancient.
Which is well doing, and welcome back to After They Found Atlantis. Today we're talking about why archaeology is stonewalling research. Why do they go out of their way to stop sites from being explored? And I'm thinking that this might be a possibility. The fact that there could be sensitive information, sensitive knowledge that they are protecting from the public. They don't want certain things to come out. This is why they're banning places to be researched, and they're stopping people like Graham Hancock from looking into our deep past by using tactics like smear campaigns, calling him a racist, and dragging his name through the mud on Wikipedia. All these things have been done before by UFO government cover-ups, tactics to make people seem like they're not credible. This tactic has been going on a long time, and they're using these same exact tactics when it comes to stopping archaeological information from coming out to the public. And whatever you might think about Bob Lazar, is that the U.S. government has now come out and stated that there are basically UFOs. So we now know that the government has been lying to us for over 50 years, going back probably 100 years. And how did they lie to us? They used smear tactics. They redacted information. They ridiculed people. They silenced people. They used all forms of media as a control mechanism. And all these things are happening now in the archaeological world. We are not able to explore certain areas we are not able to get to, such as the megalithic stones or anomalies off the western tip of Cuba that were discovered in 2000 by the ADC and Paulina Zelinsky. They found this area they call the mega area, which is an 8-mile stretch of these anomalous stones, very much looking like pyramids, and they even were able to even see writing on some of these things from the early reports, and we have not been back down there since 2000. And the very first thing that the ADC discovered with their side scan sonar was a submarine in the area.
We saw a huge submarine, very large submarine. We don't know whose submarine, but it was right there in area on ocean bottom.
They had stumbled upon modern military activity in progress, but their encounter was brief. The submarine moved away before it could be identified.
Why was that submarine there? To me, the submarine could have been there guarding the area. Do you think that anybody will ever get back down to this site and study this enormous anomaly on the bottom of the ocean floor? Let me know in the comments. There's another area nearby that the U.S. military has a huge submarine base. It's called AUTEC. And AUTEC is located on Andros Island. This is a massive research center for submarines. It's right close to the tongue of the ocean, so there's a huge sunken part of the ocean that's called the tongue of the ocean that goes down miles below the regular Bahama Bank. And this is where the U.S. conducts their submarine military activity. So it's a running theme where we begin to see that wherever there are ancient ruins, a lot of the time there is military bases nearby, or there's some kind of a military conflict going on preventing people from exploring these sites. Of course, you know Andros Island is really close to the Bimini Road. And if we intend on searching the areas around these islands, all of a sudden there's going to be a military base right in the way. You can't explore there. There's also another tactic I believe used. It's stopping people from exploring the area. It's the protection of the coral reef. We are not able to take samples from the Bimini Road because of protection of the environment. And this is another way that archaeology uses tactics to stop the study of certain sites. Another place that has been totally hidden from the public is Zayat el Aryan in Egypt, or the Pyramid of Baka. This is supposedly a unfinished pyramid, and you see some of these things that they claim are unfinished pyramids, which they obviously aren't. It's an incredible site that has not been explored since 1964, and there is now a military base preventing any further investigation of the site, and it has been buried by trash, basically. It's just buried by trash now. Could you imagine the revenue they would be able to generate by opening this up to the public? Especially how you could see like the tops of the 3 great pyramids in the back of your scenery. So the question is why? Why is it closed? There obviously is a reason. This area and its artifacts are completely unusual of all of Egypt. There's something special about this place, and it's no longer available for prying eyes to see and study.
The looting of the Iraqi National Museum. Now, what was this all about? I have the news clippings from mainstream media in my files that showed in 1999-2000, German and French archaeological teams were making amazing new discoveries in Iraq. They even think they found the tomb of Gilgamesh, who up until recently was thought to be a mythical character. But now they begin to realize that there really was such a person. Just as now we're beginning to realize that there's stories of the Anunnaki and these people who visited from another world and could travel around by flight, that these very well may have been based on reality also. So where would they have been bringing the newly found discoveries from the ancient Sumerian cities of Uruk and Ur? They would have brought it to the Iraqi National Museum. More than 700,000 pieces were taken from the museum by a mob, probably hired as cover for a operation that went in there. Museum directors around the world had gotten the Pentagon to pledge that they would protect the Iraqi National Museum because it was the repository of human history. And yet, when the mob showed up, U.S. servicemen were ordered to withdraw, and the mob was allowed to ransack the museum. But Colonel Matthew Bogdanos, Deputy Director of the Joint Interagency Coordination Group, investigated the looting of the Iraqi Museum, and he wrote, "The basement is what we've been calling an inside job. I'll say it forever like a mantra. It is inconceivable to me the basement was breached and items stolen without an intimate knowledge of the museum. From there, about 10,000 pieces were taken. We've only recovered about 650 approximately." So in other words, this was the mob, and the looting was cover for a operation to send operatives in there. They found glass cutters that are not commercially available in Iraq. Some of the guards were suspiciously missing or called in sick. They, whoever the thieves were, had keys to some of the exhibits and to the basement, and they passed up very expensive-looking fakes and went for the stuff in the basement. This was an operation to gain what they thought may have been the ancient ET technology. So who got this ancient ET technology?
So, what do you think? Do you think that archaeology is hiding things or not wanting to show truths because of possibly their careers would be on the line, their financial success, and all their teachings would be no longer valid? Or is it something more? Is it because there's actual things that have high knowledge that governments don't want the public to know about, especially when it comes to our deep past? Could the UFO phenomena and archaeology be related in some way? Is there a tie between the two, such as they state in the shows like Ancient Aliens? Is there some truth to those things? What's causing the archaeologists to block, to not open up these places? So I hope you enjoyed our video today. Wishes well doing, and see you next time.